Let's explore why letting go of fear could be oh so very difficult. This morning's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. Letting go of fear. I understand that sudden drop in your stomach is not just a feeling, it's bigger than me, so right off the bat, great insight. It is bigger than you. It's an evolutionary instinct for survival. It's not just psychological, it's physiological, and it serves an excellent purpose. Let's continue. But I've only really felt this when completing something that may seem daunting to me or when trying something for the first time. I'll call bullshit on that. You might not be lying to me, but you're probably lying to yourself. Let's continue. Is there really a way for people who live in fear to cultivate focus and effort into becoming more brave and at peace? This is an interesting question. Let's take a deeper dive. Courage is not the absence of fear. Perhaps you remember the Nike slogan, I think it was Nike. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the absence of the tyranny of fear. Fear is present, but it does not control our choices or our utterances or our deeds. That is fear. That is courage. An absence of fear is simply an absence of mindfulness. We are already wired to experience fear. We have an entire organ at the bottom of our limbic system, the amygdala, which is devoted for aggression and anxiety. It is a fundamental survival mechanism. Our ancestors who did not possess this ability did not live long enough to pass on this trait. Can this become something people develop deeply so that they can face fear fully at other levels of living too? The more you talk, the more you type, the more the truth can bubble up and out. Letting go of fear makes sense to me as more of immediate advice, but what about long-term functions? I felt for a while that I'm afraid to live life in general. I'm not sure why, but how would I face this head on? Now that is a good question. We're going to begin with broad brushstrokes. So let's explore fear's transcendence through the lens of neuroscience. We're going to use the bad news, good news paradigm, beginning with bad news. When we rely upon the medial prefrontal cortex to practice active concentration, when we rely upon the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex to practice active contemplation, our blood is going to collect. Now, this is mislabeled, unfortunately. Our blood is going to collect at our amygdala. It's tough to see in this picture here. It's easier to see in this picture over here. But in this region right here, we have the amygdala, about the size of a pea, maybe a pinto bean. And it is the source, as I mentioned previously, the center, the seat of aggression and anxiety. So here's something really cool. The more we replace active concentration with the passive mindfulness, that is the spontaneous effect of our sympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord. The less something amazing happens. The less we rely upon active contemplation, the more we rely upon the parasympathetic system's passive meditation, the more our blood shifts away from our amygdala and towards our anterior cingulate gyrus, which I think appears over here a little clearer. But it's reversed, so that doesn't help too much. So let's go back over here. Our anterior cingulate gyrus, this band of meat that looks like a catcher's mitt of the letter C, it could function as the seat of empathy and compassion and love. Thus, it should not surprise us that the greatest Dzogchen lamas of Tibet have insisted that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. A fringe benefit there's an additional fringe benefit going on here. Consider, if you will, this gal who appears to be the color of a cumulus cloud. Notice how she is actively sporting a tantric union. This reminds us that contrivance is always trumped by spontaneity. Now notice her partner, the color of the azure sky, and how he appears to be passively savoring the same tantric union. This reminds us that not all spontaneity is created equal, and that the scattered spontaneity, for instance, that we could experience after our third consecutive espresso within 30 minutes, will always be trumped by the centered spontaneity that is generated through a practice of mindfulness and meditation. Let's take it a step further. The more that our choices, utterances, and deeds flow not from our amygdala, but from the centered spontaneity generated by our autonomic nervous system, the more blissful, the more our life could be as blissful as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise or Pure Land or Vati, if you prefer Sanskrit. The more we move forward in life from centered spontaneity, the less we will be controlled by fear. We will still experience the full spectrum of perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. These ain't going nowhere, but they will exert less control over us. And that is the liberation that the Buddha offers. I do look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day. Oopsie, that's weird. Studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Let us bring the 5 body regions into the path of bliss and letting go. So, in Tantric Buddhism, all our exercises fit within 3 categories: bliss and letting go, awareness and letting go, and love and letting go. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever lower abdomen we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imaginable. Gaucides, mustard seeds, isotable of green light. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite womb's green ah. During our exhalation, let's silently and mentally recite relaxing. No, our job is not to actively concentrate or visualize. Our job is simply to silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with our breathing. That's it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I invite you to practice this exercise with me for 4 rounds, assuming that a round is simply 1 inhalation followed by 1 exhalation. Here's a method I found useful. Advance the tip of your left thumb during each inhalation, and that is an opportunity for you to count using your fingers' sets of creases and tips. We'll start on this exercise by counting to 4, and on our next exercise, counting to 12. You're welcome to follow along with me as silently and mentally we recite womb's green ah, relaxing. We now turn our attention to spontaneous awareness and letting go. So moving from bliss and letting go to awareness and letting go. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, whether we mean to or not, we are already wired to access our sympathetic nervous system. Ensconced within the thoracic or ribcage region of our spinal cord, it has not evolved to support either extreme of mind blanking or active concentration. Instead, the sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. To help us notice sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like. To help us notice emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. To help us notice the external, the internal, the physical, the mental, the pleasurable, the painful, the interesting, the boring, the glorious, and the grotesque. What do we do with all that which we notice? Simple. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are accessing our parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within both the lower lumbar region of our spinal cord, as well as the tippy top of the cervical region. This parasympathetic nervous system that we access during each exhalation is wired to help us physically relax and mentally release. Now, here is the irony. This 3-pound supercomputer between our ears can act like a precocious child, not unlike what's his face from Family Matters? Did I do that? Who was that kid's name? Anyway, if you remember his name, please let me know in the comment area or the chat window. Urkel! Steve Urkel, yes. So, our brain's a lot like Steve Urkel, earnest and talented, but just as sharp as a marshmallow at times. Can you dig it? Unless you give him a task. And so if you say, hey, Steve Urkel, during the inhalation, would you please silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this? And then our mind cooperates with mindfulness. And if we say, hey, Steve Urkel, during the exhalation, would you please silently and mentally recite the 1-syllable verb ease? And then lo and behold, during our exhalation, we're able to practice the meditation of physical relaxation and mental release. So it's all about cooperation with various facets of our central nervous system. Let's dig in. Good morning and welcome to our tardy live stream. That's much better. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Let us return to bliss and letting go. Please chant with me. As we relax into our exhalation, the area behind the navel that we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined. Ranasambhavas, mustard seeds, isolable drum of gold light. Oh, good night. That is a really unfortunate edit. Let me see if I can fix that bad boy. Let's see. Let's scooch this down. See if that helps. And let's slide the corner. See if that helps. Oh, that's much prettier. Okay. During our inhalation, please silently and mentally recite Guts Gold Tram. During our exhalation, please silently and mentally recite the 3-syllable verb, relaxing. Now, it's not our job to actively visualize or concentrate. If all we do is silently and mentally recite these words in harmony with our breathing, that's enough. Now let us return to awareness and letting go. Now it's time for a bit of the old bliss and letting go. Please chant with me. Oh, this is what we call an editing opportunity. I have accidentally decapitated a Buddha. I hate it when that happens. Okay. There we go. That'll work. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever just we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined akshobyas. Mustard seed size syllable hung of blue light. And now we return to awareness and letting go. That'll work. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever threat we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined amitabhas. Mustard seed size syllable tree of red light. Let us return to awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever chronoscope we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as real or imagined varuchanas. Mustard seed size syllable bloom of white light. Having climbed to contemplative cruising altitude together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Rey on Ahch-To under the guidance of Luke Skywalker. Now let us bring the dualistic experience of the five perceptions into non-dualities, into the path of non-dualities, awareness, and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever dualistic experience of beauty or ugliness we might have noticed during our previous inhalation, could begin to melt into the duality of simply seeing. Oops, let's try this again. Could begin to melt into the non-duality of just sights. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever dualistic experience of discord or harmony we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to melt into the non-duality of simply sounds. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever dualistic experience of our fragrant we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to melt into the non-duality of simply scent. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever dualistic experience of disgusting or delicious we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to melt into the non-duality of simply taste. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever dualistic experience of pain or pleasure we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to melt into the non-duality of simply feels. Let us bring the 5 mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hate we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as mirror-like wisdom's clear void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as the equalizing wisdom of primordial voidness. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever craving we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as discerning wisdom's bliss void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever jealousy we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as not graspable as all-accomplishing wisdom's void intellect. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever confusion we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as all-pervasive wisdom's awareness void. Let us bring the 5 aggregates into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever body or form we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as our vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sensation such as pleasure, pain or neither we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as our vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever appraisal of pleasure or pain's intensity or volume we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever impulse such as fucking, feeding, fighting, fleeing, fainting, or fawning we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever awareness of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, or imagination we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. One moment, if you please. Ouch. Together. I invoke teachers, home action, law, meditation, and Hung View. That the Benza Tantra Guru teaches primal enlightenment and siddhi abilities who may be mastered by all. Oops. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally and passively recite, relaxing into this. And as we exhale, let us physically relax as best we can while striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. If you are new to this mantra, please give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Om Ahum Benzo Guru Me Maziri Hung 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 Om Ahum Benzo Guru me masiri hung om mahung benzo guru me masiri hung om mahung benzo guru me masiri hung om ba om om mahung benzo guru me masiri hung 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 om mahung benzo guru me masiri hung. And now we conclude with love and letting go. May all minds of all beings lucid yet void now be as enlightened as a Buddha's mind symbolized by a one-syllable bija. May all speech of all beings resounding yet void now be as loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by a multi-syllable mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual yet void no be as healthy as a Yidam archetype depicted in Buddhist statuary. May all lots of all beings appearing yet void no be as fortunate as a pure land of law depicted in Buddhist paintings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 9.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.